School is too hard. Recently, I took a course on tax preparation and I felt like I had short-term memory loss, brain damage, and ADHD all at the same time. I mean, I could get through the part on dependence and basic income, fine, but by the time it got to healthcare, it went a little something like this. And if you have Medicare Part B, that also counts as minimum essential coverage, but they won't get a 1095A. They will get a penalty if they don't have minimum healthcare coverage, but there are also exemptions for that penalty and exceptions to that rule. And I was like, huh? Seriously, so much information. SMI, so much information. All at once. Everything everywhere all at once. And it was just so confusing and it was just a lot. And I couldn't tell if I had brain damage or if it was genuinely just very confusing and a lot of information. And I'm not complaining, but okay, maybe I'm complaining a little bit. Hi, I'd like to speak to your manager. That's the thing, it was just a lot of information. And I think even the professor admitted it was a lot of information, but that doesn't change the fact that it was a lot of information. We had to watch like 8 hours of dense tax videos over the course of like 2 weeks before we took the exam. And I wasn't able to take that exam in 2021, the first time I took the course. And that's the thing. I feel like the only reason I was able to pass the class was because I had previously taken the course before. And I had 3 months of extra studying in Intuit Academy on tax last year. And I also had prior access to the videos because I started the class a couple months earlier than the actual class. So all those things combined were the reason why I felt like I was actually able to pass the course this time. So basically I had like 4 extra months of studying prior to the actual class. So yeah, that's how I passed the class. So you cheated. No, I didn't cheat, I just had some extra time to study. But if everybody had that much time to study, that would defeat the purpose of stress and competition in schools, which is the underlying factor of all schools. Okay, fascist. So I'm a fascist for upholding existing power structures and refusing to believe that any other possible structures could exist, and for refusing to... So when I was going to college, I was taking 3, 4, sometimes even 5 classes a semester. And sometimes I would get a good grade, and sometimes I wouldn't. But what if we only had to take 1 or 2 classes per semester or a year? I'm going to propose the new college school semester system, in which people take 1 to 2 classes per semester and only 2 to 4 classes per year, so they can really focus on their subject and dig in deep, instead of spreading themselves too thin. In this system, people would finish college at the age of 26, the same age that they get dropped from their parents' health insurance, and the same age in which they fully become an adult, according to David. Hi, welcome to Chili's. Can I get you started on some drinks today? Yes, I'll take a Sprite. Are you in school, by the way? Yes, I'm actually studying to be an accountant. I'm in my last year of school. Oh, are you 26? That's so cool. Yes. That is perfectly acceptable and normal. Here's a toast to you. But basically, I feel like if school wasn't so hard, people wouldn't turn to AI so much for help for their schoolwork. Instead, they would mostly turn to AI for moral support and fashion advice, instead of generating essays and content for them. What should I wear today? You look great just the way you are. Oh, thanks, Gemini. I'm not a Gemini, I'm a Leo. I believe that AI is not necessarily a nefarious or bad thing, though many people would have you believe otherwise. I do believe that AI's deterioration of the general populace's ability to read and write and think critically is bad. However, AI's ability to confer large amounts of data and summarize them into a brief few bullet points is kind of useful sometimes. So as always, you win some, you lose some. I believe that we should make school easier, at least in degree and amount of time given to students. I mean, if I don't feel the need to use something, I won't use it. Eh, I'll climb to the roof and gaze at the stars another day. Works for me. I don't like being stepped on and being held responsible for falls. And if people were given more time to do and think about their work, there would be less need for AI. Now, you might be wondering, how would the economy work if most people didn't start working normal jobs until they reached the age of 30? Well, I hate to break it to you, but most normal jobs have a training period at the beginning of their work period, anyways, where they train you how to do your job. And I think this training period could be incorporated into schooling. How do I input this form into the computer? This imbecile! And you might be wondering, how are people going to make money? I think most people should work service jobs anyways. It builds character, and people could work service jobs until they finish their schooling. So instead of a McDonald's self-checkout kiosk that upcharges my fries. Hi, welcome to McDonald's. Hi, I'd like to get a large fry and a large Coke. Oh wait, I don't want to get diabetes. I'm not here to give you health advice, though as someone who's on track to become a doctor in 30 years. And you might also object. There are people who go to school and have a full-time job and don't use AI and still have good grades and still go to school, and I still think people should have the option to do that. However, for people like me, I just think school should be easier. And you know what? I think the more that I think about it, the more that I realize maybe I'm the one that has the problem. Hi, welcome to McDonald's. Oh yeah, sorry, I want. But maybe if school were easier, we could have school for our whole lives and stay in school throughout life. Kind of like community college, but for everybody. So, thank you for listening to my rant about why I think school should be easier. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Until next time, bye.